I do not recommend that anyone who watches this videotape do what we have done. It is extremely dangerous. You can see where we're at. We are literally almost on the boundary of the test site. I'm going to pan around so that you can get some idea of exactly where this section of the documentary was filmed. Down at the lower part of the screen you can see the water hole that the sheriff made us move our vehicles 1,000 yards away from in the middle of the night. We won the battle because he told us we had to leave the entire area. You see the road that's going up to the base of the mountain in the distance? That's the dirt road, and where it meets the mountain is Highway 375. We're approximately 12 miles from the highway at this point. Again, you can see that there is nothing and no one anywhere around except right over those mountains that you're looking at. It's one of the most super secret test sites in the United States of America. There you can see them approximately in the center of the screen, beginning their climb up the mountain. It took them quite a while to reach the top. Again, they're about in the center of the screen. This is a 30-to-1 zoom lens, and the heat rising from the desert floor on this warm day, the only warm day that we encountered in the entire 2 weeks, distorts the image. When we hit the digital and go to 60-to-1, you'll see that the combination of the wind, and it was very, very windy, the wind buffeting the camera and the heat rising from the desert floor seriously deteriorates the camera image. We had a very steady wind on this entire day, and it was almost impossible to keep the camera still even on a very heavy, sturdy professional tripod. Well, they've reached the top, and the first one who was up there, who's sitting on the rock, was Karen, and she never let the other two live it down for the rest of the time that we were together. Her husband, Earl, was last. I don't envy him at all. Now you can see exactly where they are. From that vantage point, they were able to look right down in and view the entire test site. That's quite a long ways from my position on top of a small hill next to the dirt road that leads into the test site. The actual border of the test site at this point is no farther than 3/4 of a mile from our position. While they were up there, and while I was filming them, a black helicopter came out flying very low. They were actually looking down upon the helicopter from their position on top of the mountain. All of them were astonished when they saw the helicopter disappear. From my vantage point, I saw that it did not disappear. It actually flew into an opening in the mountain, which opened up before it as if by magic. I felt as if I were watching some science fiction film as this helicopter flew into the mountain, and then the doorway closed back upon it, and you could not even tell that it existed. What you're viewing are security vehicles who dogged us the entire time. We were never without our shadow the whole time we were out there. The shadow, of course, was the security personnel. These men work for Wackenhut Corporation. They're under contract to the test site. Most of them are ex-FBI, ex-law enforcement, or ex-intelligence operatives from the many branches of the intelligence community. They are all big in stature, menacing. They wear no identifying marks, patches, or insignia whatsoever, and will refuse to identify themselves when asked. These two drove up and wrote down the license number of our vehicles. If you do anything wrong, the slightest thing, park your vehicle on a county road, if they run your license plates and find that you have warrants outstanding, anything, they will use the slightest excuse to call the county sheriff to come and either arrest you or order you to leave the area. Your only weapon is to make sure that you do not do anything wrong, make sure you know the laws, make sure that you are on public property, BLM land at all times, and make sure you know what your rights are. These two guys parked out in the desert facing directly at us and watched us and filmed us with cameras and watched through binoculars the entire time that we were on the hill. They were under the impression that we could not see them, but they underestimated the power of our telescopic lenses. That will give you some idea of the security. Well, you can see our intrepid climbers coming back down the mountain.